All right, guys, so you were practicing solving one-step equations yesterday. Today we're going to take a look at kind of a trick or an element of one-step equations that sometimes can throw people off. So I call them floating negatives. And if you look at this example of an equation right here in the middle of your screen, what I'm referring to is this little guy right here, what I call a floating negative. So I want you to kind of just take a minute and think about how you see the problem. Do you think that negative belongs to the x? Meaning that if I was going to rewrite it, I'm going to write it clearly attached to the x. Do you think it belongs to the 5? Again, meaning that I am clearly attaching it to the 5 and taking it from that floating status out front. Or do you think it applies to both, that I would attach that negative to both the x and the 5 and take it out from the front? So looking at those three scenarios, hopefully you should see two negatives, guys, equals a positive. So it's definitely not to both, because that would make my division or my fraction, however you want to think of it, positive. So it's not. So then if I look at my other two options, does it belong to my x or does it belong to my 5? The answer, guys, is it actually could be either way. But thinking about what we are looking for as an answer and thinking about the outcome of our work, when we are solving for equations, we want to get, yes, the variable, the letter all by itself, but we also want it to be positive. So the way to handle it is it's easiest if I attach it to the number. Because then when we go to solve, we're going to eliminate that negative with our multiplication, because again, my operation that you see is division. So I would be multiplying by -5 on both sides, and my outcome is going to be x equals, and in this case, when I multiply by -5, you're going to get -50. So again, neither one is necessarily wrong. It could belong to the x. You could put it with the 5. But looking at where I need to be at the end, a variable that is positive and by itself, again, it's best to attach it to the number. All right, so we're going to go ahead and complete some problems. We're going to do two more like this and then a couple more on your own. So we're looking at page 9 of your paper packet. And if you don't have your paper packet, you can write down the problem and solve it on a piece of paper and also submit the picture that way as well. So take a minute, go grab your packet. If you don't have it, we are picking it up on page 9. You'll see this example at the top. All right, so here are the examples on page 9, and this is just to help you practice. What I would suggest is if you do see a floating negative, take a minute and attach it to the number. Okay, so you could do it one of two ways. You could literally just extend this line and draw my negative underneath, because again, that floating negative was out front of my entire kind of fraction there on the left, and I'm going to want to show it with my 2, because again, I'm going to attach it to the 2 for the sake of solving. Once you've done that, then you can go ahead and proceed and multiply by -2, because again, I see division. This is a division sign. So to get rid of it, we multiply by 2, and we want to take the negative with it because we're dividing by -2, so the opposite is to multiply by -2. They cancel here on the left, that is the whole point, and we get x equals -8. Now again, I talked about it in the last lesson. It's really, I think, important for you to check your work. So if I come back, and I'm just going to erase my work here so you can see my original problem. It was x divided by -2 equals 4. And again, when you're rewriting it, again, still attach that floating negative to my number. I'm going to then take out my variable, and I've now said, hey, I think it is -8. So I'm going to plug in my -8. Performing this computation here on the left, -8 divided by -2 gives me a +4, which is indeed equal to +4. So check. I know that I did the problem correctly. If I look at number 2, same kind of thing. I want you to take a minute and change it so that your negative is clearly attached to the number. Then again, my operation I see between the x and the -8 is division. So I want to multiply to get rid of it. So I'm going to multiply I'm going to want to multiply by -8, multiply by -8, opposites cancel, and I'm left with x equals, and -6 times -8, performing this operation here on the right, I get a 48. Now again, to check it, I'm going to rewrite my equation over here in my checkbox, and it was 8x divided by -8 equals -6. So I'm going to take out my variable because now I'm saying, I have like a really big eraser there. I'm going to take out the negative, or the x, I'm going to put in my answer solution of 48. Performing this operation here on the left, 48 divided by -8 is -6, which is the same as my answer I was given in my equation, -6. So check, I got that correctly. So what I want you to do is go ahead and solve these last 3 problems on page 9. Again, making sure that you're rewriting your problem so that you're attaching the negative to my number and then solving it that way. Now, the floating negative really only is a factor when you kind of have this division relationship between the variable and the number. So all of them, you're going to be multiplying as your inverse. And then again, writing your equation out, replacing the value, your answer in for the variable and solving. So go ahead and do those last 3. And for your assignment points today, I want you to go ahead and submit a picture of your work on page 9. Again, I've attached the image to the assignment in case you also need that, but you're free to pause the video and just write down these last 3 problems as well on a spare sheet of paper if needed. Reach out if you need help.